Hello everybody, this is Jeannie T with It's All About Yarn, Knit and Crochet. Today I'm going to show you how to make this sweet little pattern. I'm going to make my granddaughter a little blanket for her bed. She's only 4 or 5. I think she just turned, well, she might be going on to 5. Time is going on me. She'll be 5 this fall. I did a little swatch, and this is it here. I'll lift my camera. So this is the front of it, and it's easy. So this is the front, and this is the back. And you just keep repeating this. Little flowers, and you can make them all red flowers, or you can make them pink or yellow, any floral color. You can make them all the same. You could make it rainbow. You can make this into blocks. You can make this into a scarf. I'm going to make a blanket and change the color of the flowers as I go row by row. This would look beautiful in rainbow. Anyways, you can make anything you want with it. You can make blocks, you can make a solid blanket. It would be a cute scarf. Anyways, I'm just using my mill-ins still that I got at Cambridge Fibers. Now this is the wrong side of the work, and my flowers pop out on it. And on the other side, they're just done in a nice pattern. So, I'm using a worsted weight. I'm going to start off with white and green for leaves. You can use any kind of green you like. And something for the flowers. I have red. I have what's left of a 1 pound bag of Cambridge Fibers pink. And I have a little ball of yellow. I don't know if I'll use yellow. I like it. Just as long as it's the same thickness, I'll feel comfortable. And I'm going to be using a 5.5 hook, 5.5 mm. So to get started, these are done in, each flower takes up a set of 3 stitches. So any amount done in 3s, and just add 1 at the end. So 3 plus 1. And on this one I put 27 stitches, and it's just about 8.5. Yes, about 8.5 inches. That was 27, and that's with a 5 mm hook and worsted weight yarn. You can use nice soft baby yarn if you like. This is just going to be for a top blanket for her. It will look cute on her bed. So let's get started. So I'm going to start off. You could even use another color. You don't need to use white. You can use a light color or any color you like. I'm going to make a chain of 27. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, plus 1. Now that 1 is not going to count as a first crochet, it's just going to be your turning stitch. So in every stitch on your way back, we're just going to single crochet all the way across. So we have our 1 chain, and we can't go in here because that will just undo our chain, so we're going to go into the next loop. Go in, pull up a loop, and then pull through both. And that's how you make a single crochet. And then you go into the next. I always go below the 2 strands of yarn because it feels nice and strong to crochet on. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 'So go ahead and do single crochets all the way to the end, and you should have them within your set of 3. I'll see you at the end. So there's 25, 26, 27. And we're going to chain 1 and turn. Okay? Now we're going to single crochet all the way back across. But where we did the chain 1 and turn, if you ever have a little bit too much on the end here, you can just unhook that 1. There. So we chained 1 and turned. And now where we're going to make our first stitch is right at the very beginning. Make sure you don't miss it. So you pull this back a little bit and you can see where to put your hook. Right in there. So you pull up a loop and then pull through both. And I always go through both, the front and the back, when I'm doing these. I don't know if that house is throwing off my focusing a little bit. My camera might be trying to focus on that in the background. Okay, so single crochet all the way to the end. When you get to the end, you should have the same amount in your second row as you did your first. I'll meet you at the end. Okay, I'm at the end. So I have 25, I need 27, 26, that one's a little bit small, but it's there, 27. And then we're going to put on one more row of white. So we're going to chain one, turn our work. And then we're going to pull this back a little bit so we can get into this very first stitch. Let's not miss it. Otherwise we'll be going down one stitch every row. We'll be losing one. So go ahead and crochet your single stitches all the way across, and I will meet you back at the end. Okay, so I've made it back to 27, and I'm going to just pull the loop up a little bit loose because I'm going to cut this yarn and change colors. Leave a bit of a tail so you can mend it in. Now I need green. So I'm going to make a slip knot. I'm going to take my white. I'm going to back this loop out because I don't want it to be up into the green row. So I'm just going to pull out one loop, just one, and then I'm going to take the green yarn and pull it through to where the second row is going to be, just like that. And we're going to, I gotta give this a little tug. We'll darn that in after and secure it. So now we need to chain two, both strands. I'm going to chain one, put the tail down of the new color, and then chain the second one. So there's a chain of two, which is going to equal one double crochet. So now we're going to turn our work. This is the only thing about this blanket. We're going to have a few ends because I couldn't think of any way to carry up the different color in yarn without it being noticeable. So we'll just have to weave them in after, unless you don't mind the color showing a little bit. So now this row is going to be chains and double crochets, but we're going to make V stitches. So this first one is going to count as one double crochet. Then we're going to make a V stitch with double crochet. So for our first one, this one is into the first stitch. We're going to skip a stitch and we're going to double crochet into the next, into the third one. Okay. And then we're going to chain one, and then we're going to make another double crochet into that same space, and that's a V stitch. That's how you make a V stitch. Then we're going to go right into our next V stitch with no chains in between them. We're going to skip two, 1, 2, and in the third stitch we're going to double crochet. We're going to make this a V stitch. So double crochet 1, chain 1, double crochet 1. So there's another V stitch. Then we're going to do our next V stitch with a double crochet. So we skip 2, 1, 2, into the third one we'll double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. So those are our V stitches. So do that all the way to the end, and I'll meet you there. Okay, so now I'm at the end, and I only have 3 stitches left. So we're going to put a double crochet into that last stitch. So we're still going to skip 2, 1, 2, and 1 double crochet into that very last stitch, and that will give us a straight edge. No V. That's the end of our round. Then we snip our yarn and pick out a color for a flower. So I am going to start off with this red. One moment please, I have a little yarn barf. Okay, I got by the yarn barf. So now I'm going to take any color of a flower that I like, and I'm going to make a slip knot because I'm going to connect it to the green. So we need a slip knot to get ready. And we're going to back this down 1 level because I don't want that green to come up into the flower petals. So I'm just going to take it down 1 level. And then take the new color and pull it up through. Snug up the green. And then the first chain we will pull both strands through the loop and then put the tail down. Now we need a total of a chain 4 here, so we already chained 1, so chain 3 more and turn our work because we're going to knit back. So we chain 4, and now what we are going to do is make a cluster into the V stitch. And they are double crochet clusters, and we need 4 into each one. But this is how you do a cluster. So you go in, pull up a loop to double crochet, pull through 2, and leave those ones on. Then we're going to grab the yarn like we're going to make another double crochet, pull it up through, and pull the yarn through 2 of them, and that's all. And you're going to do that till you have 4 of them into that space, into the V space. So there's 4, okay? So you can hold on to them, take your yarn and pull it through all of them. And then chain 2. The first chain is going to secure them. And then chain 1 more. And then you do that into your next V stitch. So we're going to put in another cluster. Pull through 2. Oh, kitty cat's calling me. Oh, it sounds like she's calling her kittens. No, I can't be calling her kittens because it's the tomcat. He's hungry, but there's food out there. So now I have 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to hold on to them all together and pull this all through all of them and chain 2. I'm going to do that into every V-stitch. They're pretty easy. I think they're fun. So 4 double crochets for a cluster. And then pull through them all. Chain 2. So let's do that all the way across, and I will meet you at the end. So we are here at the end now, and this is what we have. So rather than chaining 2, we are only going to chain 1, and we're going to make a double crochet, 1 double crochet at the very end. Okay? And then we are going to cut our yarn. Now we are going to join it back to the white. I mean, you can use a pale pink on the bottom or a blue. It doesn't matter, but for your flowers to show out, you should try to keep it sort of consistent. This could be any neutral color. It could be a nighttime color. So I'm going to make a slip knot in the white. Back this down 1 level. Put my hook in through them. Pull the white up through. We are going to be going back into single crochet, so we're only going to chain 1 and turn our work. So now into this very same spot we need to do a single crochet in this very first stitch. The chain does not count as a single crochet. And then we're going to single crochet into the first chain. Then we're going to single crochet at the top of the cluster. And then in between each cluster, remember we had 2 chains. So we are going to 2 single crochets in between each cluster. A single crochet at the top, 2 single crochets in between every cluster, because there's a chain 2 in between every cluster. And that's what we're doing. We're going into every stitch that we made. I'm not going into the chain, I'm going into the space because the chain's a little bit tight where I used it to secure the tops of the clusters. So I'll go into the top of the cluster for 1, and then 2 chains in between each cluster. Back to the top of the cluster. 2, tighten that up, 2 chains. Okay, so now at the end, okay, we did one on top of the cluster, so now we need 2 more at the very end. Now I should have 27. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Can't be. Did I count right here? One on top. Wait, 2 there, 1 on top, 2 there. Okay, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Oh. So that left me with 26. So the top of this one will be as a cluster. I'm glad I counted. So we'll treat it as a cluster and get our last stitch, because it is a bit thick. It's a real double crochet. Okay, so now we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and into the very first stitch we're going to single crochet. Make sure we have the same amount as we did at the very beginning of our work. And we're going to single crochet in every stitch. So doing these other rows, we'll do 3 rows of white, then we'll switch to doing V stitches with the green, and then another color for your flowers. So go ahead and I'll meet you at the end, and I'm going to do another recount and make sure we have the right amount of stitches, because when we came off of the flowers we had to use this last one as a flower and just put 1 more on the top, just like a cluster. Okay, I'll meet you back at the end. Okay, so I got a perfect count of 27 at the end. So I'm going to chain 1 and turn our work. And then I'm going to single crochet all the way across again. So remember, don't forget that very first stitch right where the chain is, the chain 1. Okay, so I'll meet you back at the end, and then we're going to start a new row of flowers. Okay, I am at the end. Now I'm going to trim my yarn. Make a slip stitch in the green. Back the white out, 1 loop. And bring our green in. And we will need a chain of 2 to start. So I'm going to chain 1 with both strands, put the tail down and chain 1 more, and turn our work. So the first stitch will be a double crochet, and this chain is into this spot, so we're going to skip one and go into the second space and do a double crochet, chain one. So we're going to make our V stitches. So it's a double crochet, chain one, and a double crochet in the same space makes your V stitches like these. And then we'll make another V stitch. We'll skip two, 1, 2, go into the third, make another V stitch, and then we'll make another V stitch, skip two, 1, 2, go into the third, chain one, double crochet. Then to make our next one, we'll skip 1, 2, go into the third, make a double crochet, chain one, double crochet. We'll do that all the way to the end, and I will meet you back. So remember, at the end, we have 3 spaces. Let me focus this a little better. 3 spaces, so we're just going to skip 2 and put a double crochet into that last stitch and trim your yarn. Then we're going to find another flower color, which I'm going to take pink this time. So we're going to back this out 1. Whoops, 1. Take our new color, pull it through, and we will be needing double crochets for the flower, so we're going to chain 1 and then put the tail down to secure it. And we need a total of 4 chains. So there's 1, there's 2, 3, and 4. And turn our work. And then what we're going to do is make a cluster into the first V stitch. Cluster of 4 double crochets. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then pull through them all. And then chain 2. The first chain secures our cluster. So in between every cluster we have a chain of 2. Do our next cluster. Then pull through them all and chain 2. Do our next cluster. Chain cluster of 4 double crochets. And then pull through them all and chain 2. So go ahead and do that all the way across, and I will meet you at the end. So this is what we have so far. I am doing a block for tutorial purposes, and this is what we have so far. It's pretty. So I'm at the end. I'm at the end. I did the cluster, and then I just chained one to secure it. Now I'm going to make a one double crochet into this very last, not into the chain, but into the very last place on the row so that it's nice and straight. And then trim your yarn. Then we'll be going back to the white. That's pretty. So this here at the end, that when we do our next row, we'll be connecting into this chain part to square it up. It's just a chain of 4, but it counted as our first double crochet stitch. It's very pretty. So you can do purples, yellows, cute little flowers. I am getting so tanned. I've been craving the sun, vitamin D. I had, it's been 2 years I've been off of my chemo, but it was so strong I went down to nothing. And I've been craving vitamin D from the sun ever since. And I take it at home as well. But I just can't stop craving the vitamin D. So that's that beautiful design. And you can make it into a big blanket. You can make a baby blanket. You can make a throw for your sofa or chair. You can make a scarf. You can make a sweater with it. You could probably make like a rectangle shaped wrap. That would be very beautiful. Anyways, I hope you like my video. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and keep safe, be kind to one another, and happy yarning. Bye now.